years, I can't tell you how many phone calls I've received from friends and clients that talk about, oh my gosh, Bev, I can't believe this time has come. My parents are in their home, they're getting older, and I'm so concerned about them because it's our family home, they really don't want to move, but I'm not real sure our home is safe for them anymore. And so the topic of aging in place or when it's time to move, it's a delicate one, it's a tough one. You're talking about your loved ones, it's at a time of life that, well, let's face it, the old adage when they say, gosh, as you get older, time sure flies. Absolutely, time does fly, and it happens to all of us. So we have to think about what our choices are, and planning is a big piece of that. Welcome to Breakfast with Bev this morning. I'm Bev Curtis with Bev & Company here at House of Brokers, and we've got a wonderful guest speaker, Janie Shelburne here, that is actually a care manager that's going to give us a lot of insightful information. And then alongside of her is Cheryl Moppet in my office, so I'm going to let you guys kind of tell them what you do.
Yes, so I'm Janie Shelburne. I'm the owner of Como Senior Care, and like she said, I'm a care manager, so I work with older adults and their families, planning and just making sure that we're looking at all those different things that can come up with aging and make sure there's a plan for that. And there's support, I do coaching, I do consulting, and I do care management, and a lot of that is working with other professionals in town.
And I'm Cheryl Moppin. Most of you guys have seen me on here before. I'm licensed realtor and marketing director for Bev & Co. And we kind of broke this down in a 3-step simplified process for you guys today. So the first step is planning for the future.
That is my biggest advice. So we all know that we're going to age. That's what we want, right? So first step is to plan. We want to talk about what do you like, make a wish list, know what's going on in town, maybe go on tours, talk to real estate agents, have someone that you know and trust that when it comes time, they know your house, they know your family, they know your wishes. Just thinking about possibly downsizing. A lot of people think they have to go from a large home to a nursing home. There's a lot of steps in between. There's downsizing to a different home. There's a lot of different things. And if you have a list and a plan, you really can, you have a lot more options that way because you have a best case scenario and a worst case scenario, and you can work off of that with your family and the professionals in your life.
Yeah. I think too, that's kind of where a lot of people, I just kind of want to interject that. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, this is going to be my forever home. We're looking to buy our forever home. There's really probably no home that's going to be forever. It's kind of for that long haul stage in your lifespan. But then after that, as one does age, just kind of like Janie said, there's probably going to be a few steps along the way.
And it's okay to go from your forever home, like she said, it doesn't have to be your forever home, to like assisted living. There's condos out there that have all your maintenance taken care of for you. There's just smaller houses, so when that time does come, you don't have this big burden of a 5,000 square foot house that has to be sold. You could hand a smaller house to your kids to invest in, or just to easier sell and less maintenance.
Yeah, you can pay for a lot of in-home care if you think about your house as an investment, as an asset, rather than really hanging on to it and thinking this is where I want to age in place. You can have a lot more options with a lot more flexibility in your plan.
And so step 2 of this process is having a team, having, Janie on your side, and having realtors to just ask questions along the way to assess what needs to be done with your house, just doing market analysis to see if maybe the market's really good right now in your price point, and maybe it's time to make that move ahead of time.
And I always say let time make our decisions, because sometimes you might be working with someone and they might tell you, really the spring is a good time to sell. I don't know. That would be asking these two. But so maybe, you feel pressured and you feel like you have to make a decision now, but we can slow it down. We can even do some temporary things working with a care manager and a real estate agent to make sure that you're well cared for and you're not making a really quick decision.
And probably even making adjustments in the house you live in now to help.
For sure.
And then the third step would be to assess.
Yeah, and there are several different ways you can get an assessment. Again, I really recommend working with professionals. You want to talk to your primary care physician, especially if they've been following you for a while. I'm a care manager myself. I do assessments. So an appropriate environment assessment. So I can talk about your activities of daily living, your instrumental activities of daily living, and figure out how much help you need in those situations, and see what environment really is appropriate for you. Because you might be surprised that it might just be, your 3-bedroom, 2-bath slab. It might be independent living, or we can, it might be skilled nursing, and that depends on assets. It depends on your functioning level, and it depends on that wish list that we talked about in the beginning too of your plan. What do you want your aging life to look like? What is it going to look like for you to thrive? What kind of supports do you need? Are you social? Do you like to stay to yourself? Do you want to go somewhere else where your family is? A lot of those things we can personalize and make sure that your aging life is what you want it to be.
Well, and you can help them a lot of times too, age in place.
Oh yeah.
So it's not even.
There's tons of services, there's tons of technology these days, there's assistive devices. An occupational therapist is someone I recommended in the blog that you would want to get an assessment from, because they can really talk to you about your activities of daily living, and they're the expert on assistive devices and making sure that you're living the way that you want to live.
Well, and I think it's very apparent that the key word here is planning.
Yes.
That no matter what you're doing in life, planning is a key element to make a smooth transition and just keep the stress level down. I mean, in all facets of life. So I think the big takeaway is obviously the planning, but also kind of be thinking about that when you're making your moves and purchasing your homes. Is this going to be like my 10-year home? Is this going to be like my 20-year home? And maybe like the kids are now grown and your empty nesters are soon to be. Think about maybe that purging out process, because I think a lot of the transitioning maybe might not be such the move itself. It's just, what do I do with all my accumulated stuff? Because I'm sure, Jeannie, you get that question asked a lot. It's just daunting of what do you do with all the family stuff? So do you have options that you give people for that as well?
Yeah, for sure. And that's part of the planning process too, is let's talk about what's really sentimental. Let's talk about what you would want to pass down. Somebody might think that something's really valuable to you, that it's not to you, so those conversations are good to have. And then just like different furniture that you can think about would be easy to get in and out of, things like that can make a big difference. The furniture that you're setting in, if it has armrest, just setting yourself up for success in the pieces that you are keeping. I know people want to keep sentimental things, but if you can have sentimental and functional, that's really ideal.
And I have found too that people's stuff kind of keeps people in their home maybe a lot longer than they should. And then there's that mishap where somebody falls or something happens, and then they're really forced to make a quick decision. The one thing about our team here at Bev & Co. here at House of Brokers is we do have a lot of experience, guys, with working with this type of transition. We've worked with a number of families through the years, helping them through the process. And I have to say, we are thrilled to have Janie Shelbourne here on our team, because she's a wonderful client manager, care manager that can assist you. And all of the things that maybe doesn't fit in the real estate box of things that we specialize in, those are the areas that she specializes in and does a fantastic job, and her clients love her. I mean, that's one thing, like I said, it's a delicate situation, but she has a very polished touch with what she does and really makes it the best experience possible. And that's what we're all about, is having a very good client experience. Switching gears, we're in a beautiful kitchen here. We are at 1904 Devonshire Drive. And this is a 4-bedroom home on a slab with 3.5 baths and a 3-car garage. It has beautiful granite countertops. It has a wonderful flowing floor plan, a nice backyard, an open concept that people love, and it's priced very well at $325,000. It just hit the market this week. We've already got a couple second showings on it. It's one that probably won't last long. So if you're thinking about making a move, go online and check out 1904 Devonshire Drive. We'd be more than happy to set up a private showing. Thanks so much for joining us, Janie and Cheryl, this morning.
And next week we are doing a part 2 with Janie. We are talking about Columbia as an option for senior living, all that Columbia has to offer for senior living, whether it be activities, different housing options, just all this recreation, just everything that Columbia has to offer. So
This is the place you want to age, I promise.
Okay, we got some
Wednesday.
good stuff next week, guys, so definitely tune in. So we appreciate your time. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week.